Thank you to Sea of Stars for sponsoring this video. Guys, please check out the link in the description for more information on Sea of Stars. Sea of Stars is the Chrono Trigger inspired RPG that you need to play and that I've been waiting for decades at this point. I've went through and played all sorts of indie and 16-bit inspired games. We went through a plethora of them, but Sea of Stars is by far the closest that I have felt to the connection of my favorite game of all time that I played back in the mid-90s of Chrono Trigger. And I'm trying not to really exaggerate here when it comes to Sea of Stars, because obviously Chrono Trigger is a legendary game, but it's not just Chrono Trigger. It's Secret of Mana, it's Illusion of Gaia, it's Breath of Fire. There are a plethora of incredible games that Sea of Stars pulls from to create its own unique experience that I haven't ever experienced in a game. The fact that they've been able to pull this one off just has me blown away as I play through the game. Now, the story starts off as you are these two warriors, Valerie that has crescent or moon powers, and then you have Zale who has solar and fire powers, and you have the birthright of the Solstice warriors. You have the birthright or that power within you as you were delivered to this island, and you go through a brutal training regimen to get your body, mind, and soul ready to harness those powers so you can save the world. A little bit cliche when it comes to things, but once you get into this game, you really start to see how the story shapes within these two warriors and how everybody around them helps bring together the story, the gameplay, and everything together. I really love what they've set up, and without putting in any spoilers, there is a lot of different endings and there's a lot of different ways that this game can maneuver, and I love it because it reminds me of that classic Chrono Trigger with all the different endings and different stuff that you can do based off of side quests and based off of what you do in the game. Gives you a lot of variety in gameplay to really check out and see the story and collect everything that you can get, so you have your options in terms of how you want your journey to do on this journey of inner strength, learning about the world and stopping the Flesh Mancer, just stopping the evil that is out there at the Eclipse. So love the story, love the writing. I think it's very in-depth. There's a lot of cool lore and backstory that you can have at campfires if you collect these scrolls. So I think that the story is fantastic. Now, the presentation, obviously you have this 16-bit aesthetic and it's incredible. There are so many times where I had these really cool, I would say, like panoramic moments with the game where they take you to certain spots, or when you see like the foreground or the background as you're running through certain areas. It really is inspiring, especially with the artists here. What they've done, like I said, I'm not sure what it is, but this style to me looks better than a lot of modern games. Not saying that the graphics are better, but the look to your eye is more pleasing in terms of what they've done, and it really just makes me say, wow, I kind of like this look even better than some of the HD 2D games that we've gotten from Square Enix. To me, it's that pleasing on the eye because it's not so sharp, it's a little bit more dull, but the colors are a bit more vibrant and it doesn't really grade on your eyes as much, to where you can play this game whether you're playing in portable mode on a Switch Lite, I tested it out on there, or you're playing on a Switch OLED, or you're playing on a monitor or a TV. It really suits every single setup or every single display that you have a little bit better than a lot of the other RPGs or games on the Nintendo Switch. So when it comes to the presentation, the fonts, the text, the animations, All of that is incredibly well done, and it throws in some of that little 16-bit humor, that 16-bit style in there. One of my favorite times that they did this was when I was inside one of the caves early in the game, and you go through like this little wind tunnel and you start spinning around and bouncing off of stuff. I mean, obviously if you've played Chrono Trigger, you played other 16-bit RPGs, that was a staple of that era, especially with more of the light-hearted RPGs with serious undertones, and that's exactly what Sea of Stars is. It has a very serious and, you know, rooted type of flow to it, but at the same time there's very light-hearted jokes, there's comic relief, there's really quirky characters that have certain animations and certain things that they do. So I loved that about this game, and like I said, this to me really felt like the next inspired Chrono Trigger game, something that's got as close to it without being Chrono Trigger. So I love the presentation, love the pastel colors, love the water reflections and different little details and certain areas you can get to if you really focus in and explore everything. The presentation is so key in this game, and it's fantastic. Honestly, they did a great job with it. So next I want to move into probably the most important thing when it comes to Sea of Stars, how they actually use the combat to kind of do a little bit of puzzle solving and a bit more in depth. Now, it doesn't have as much depth as some of the other RPGs that have came out with all these different stats and different things that you can look at, but what it makes up for is fun. What it makes up for is engagement, because anytime that you want to get an extra attack in, you have to press the A button right at the right time. So it kind of gives me that Super Mario RPG type of feel, and I love that about this game because every attack has a property to it, whether it's blunt force, whether it's a blade, whether it's a crescent moon attack magic, or a solar attack, and you have to basically strategically do attacks on certain enemies that have these bars or have these little squares above them, and you know when they're about to do a big attack. So it's almost like a little mini game within each combat to stop them from doing a big magic attack or summoning other things and getting the most efficient battle as possible. I really love that flow because once again, it lacks some of the depth that we've seen in other RPGs, but makes up for it in just sheer fun and great flow. Sometimes you don't always need to be the most in-depth with all the different types of, you know, magics and all the different type of things. Sometimes you just need to have a good flow to it, and it just needs to be fun to play, and Sea of Stars definitely gets that. But it would have been nice to have a little bit more depth here and there. But speaking of depth, one thing that I loved about Chrono Trigger was the fact that that game had dual text and triple text. That was one of the best things about the game, teaming up with two people in order to get some type of super cool attack going. Well, rest assured, this game, Sea of Stars, absolutely has it, and I love it so much because the dual text in this game are super cool. The presentation and the animations and how they do things is so dope, and I love how it all kind of intertwines with the combo meter that you have. And like I talked about with the flow of the game, right? Basically, it's this, guys. If you want to make sure that you're constantly being able to use magic, that you're constantly being able to heal without dying, that you're constantly being able to play the game, the combo meter, attacking, filling up your magic, making sure that you play the game right when it comes to hitting the enemy and getting the extra hit, or even when an attack is coming onto you and blocking, pressing the A button and blocking at the right time, that all fills up that combo meter to where you can get these cool dual techs in. And the thing about it is the dual techs, they are kind of found, right? You can just kind of find them out there. So you have to really explore, find the cool dual techs and unlock them in other types of ways. No spoilers here. And that really gives you a leg up in battle because there are a number of secret and hidden bosses and other things that can affect everything in this game. And the dungeons in the game are also a bit basic when it comes down to it, but they're still fun to navigate and go through. They're the classic 16-bit RPG dungeons that you grew up with or that you know and love, and they also have a nice little twist with some environmental puzzles that you can unlock and do. So for example, early in the game you get like this wind bracelet to where you can push different things, and then from there's some basic puzzles that you can solve to get extra items or to go back and find different things. I actually like it. Once again, it's a nice little flow to the gameplay to where things don't get stale within dungeons, and it's a nice little throwback to other games from that era as well. And then of course at every single end dungeon there is a big boss to fight, along with fighting a bunch of enemies along the way. I do love how all the bosses look and react. Honestly, the boss battles in this game, it's quite a spectacle with just how the characters look, whether it's a sub boss or it's a big boss. I love how each animate and how they have different types of patterns and way to attack you, and you have to figure out the best way to efficiently stop them from absolutely destroying you, because in this game, while you can kind of grind a bit, it's not really that type of game to where you can just power level your way all the way to winning. You actually have to have strategy in this game just because of how long it takes to level up and how a lot of stuff doesn't respawn instantly if you go from one area to another. So you're just going to be constantly pushed to go through, fight efficiently, be the best that you can, block, make sure that you're getting your double attacks in, and being as efficient as possible inside dungeons and fighting against the bosses, sub-bosses, and enemies. Overall, my gameplay and my playtime with Sea of Stars has just been phenomenal. This is a game that I've been waiting for quite some time, and like I stated, the only thing that I can really say is, yeah, it kind of lacks a little bit of the depth with some of the RPG mechanics, but it more than makes up with it, with its style, with its gameplay, and with its flow. You never feel bored in the battles because you're always having to pay attention, knowing when there's certain animations that are coming, because it's not like every animation is the same on the cadence of when you have to block. So you really have to pay attention during the battles. You really have to pay attention when you're attacking, paying attention when you're doing different magic yourself. One of my favorites is something that a lot of you guys have probably seen or you've played already, but like the little moon boomerang that Valerie has, and you have to just really pay attention and press the A button to deflect it back. Stuff like that is super cool. Or even Zale's super like fireball that he has, so we have to hold down the A button, then let it go right at the right time to get that nice extra oomph to it. And one more thing that I'll say that I love, because I'm a huge Super Mario RPG fan. We've talked about Chrono Trigger, we've talked about Secret of Mana, we talked about Breath of Fire, but this game also has, once again, Super Mario RPG in it, especially like the level up screen. I love that how whenever you level up, you kind of go to its own page, and it has the nice little music playing, and you can pick what you want to enhance even more. So it gives you a little bit more strategic in terms of how you want to build your character. You want to go heavy on the attack, you want to go have like a tank, a defensive fortress type of character, you want magic, you know, there's so many different ways that you could build out your character and your loadout, and it's all kind of wrapped up in this incredible presentation of music and incredible lush looking graphics. It's impossible not to say Sea of Stars is the game that we've all been waiting for. Honestly, it's impossible not to say that based on my playtime with the game. And it's one of those things to where if you grew up with the 16-bit RPGs, if you grew up with that style of game, then Sea of Stars is going to be your game to play. This one was for the people that love that style, or if you're looking to get into it, I highly recommend checking out Sea of Stars. It's available on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, PC, it's pretty much everywhere. So what are your thoughts on Sea of Stars, and do you plan on checking it out at some point? There is a demo up, so you guys can go out there and play the demo on the eShop and other places. So let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other content on Sea of Stars and other RPGs right here on screen. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you for the next one. Peace.